Yes, classification of signals, concept of signal, various operations used in signals and systems, and properties of signals. And we have seen some problems also given in the previous GATE examination. And today we will see second module, that is about system, that is system definition, classification, and how to evaluate the response of a system, and what are properties of system. And finally we'll see questions given in the previous GATE question paper. Coming to system definition, in general, a system may be a device, that may be a CRO, cathode ray oscilloscope, that may be a function generator, that may be a computer, that may be a laptop, that may be a power system. In general, system can be defined as collection of objects. Objects are elements or components, and all those objects must be interrelated or interconnected in such a way to achieve a predefined result or outcome. Coming to classification, based on what type of input we are giving, and what type of output we are getting, and what are components used in the system design. Based on these three things, systems are mainly classified into two types: continuous time or analog systems, discrete time, and digital systems. First one is continuous time or analog systems, or both are same. Continuous time systems or analog systems, both are same. Second one is discrete time and digital systems. Discrete time systems are different and digital systems are different. We will see. Continuous time systems first. Continuous time or analog systems are those for which both input and output are continuous time signal. We have to apply continuous time signal and we will get a continuous time output. And also, such systems are constructed or designed by using analog components like resistors, capacitors, inductors, diodes, transistors, analog ICs. These are the various components used in the system design. If we use all these things and give some analog input, analog data as input to the system, and observe the output also we can get analog output. Such systems are called continuous time systems or analog systems. Coming to some drawbacks, thermal stability. All of you know stability of the system is one important parameter. Based on stability only, you can say that our system is good or bad. Here, thermal stability of any continuous time system or analog system is poor, because we are using analog components in the system design. In the system design, we are using analog components. All analog components are temperature sensitive. Temperature sensitive. All of you know thermal runaway is the major problem in your analog electronics. Thermal runaway. What is thermal runaway? If the temperature increases across the junction, at the junction, or suppose in common emitter amplifier, between collector and emitter junction, if temperature increases goes on, then reverse saturation current may increases. We all of you know the concept. Reverse saturation current may doubles for every rise in 10 degrees of temperature. If temperature increases goes on, automatically reverse saturation current IC0 increases, doubles into 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, like that. If reverse saturation current is very, very high, automatically collector current flows to the collector terminal of that circuit. IC is equal to beta times IB plus 1 plus beta into IC0 is the formula used to compute collector current, IC. Definitely IC is proportional to IC0 according to that formula. Then collector current may increase to maximum. Then power dissipation across the junction, PD, that is IC into VC, collector current into collector to emitter voltage, that value increases. Power dissipation increases means then junction goes to damage permanently. That is one important concept. The process of damaging the junction due to rise in temperature is called thermal runaway. That is one major problem in analog circuits, in continuous time domain system. That's why most of the times you can go for digital system design. We will see here both the digital and analog. That is one major problem. And continuous time or analog systems are non-programmable, and they are static in nature. Because suppose, see, if we design, suppose there is a task like design an amplifier, common emitter amplifier, to get some gain, some 10 dB or input impedance, some 1 kilo ohm, or output impedance 5 kilo ohm, like that. We will, after completion of design means what? We have to calculate how much collect resistance is required, or emitter resistance is required, or what are the biasing resistors, R1 and R2. We need to evaluate all those things to get 10 dB gain, 10 dB voltage gain, like that. If you want to design one more system, like to get 20 dB, 20 dB, what we have to do? We have to start the process once again. Once again, we have to start the process. Automatically, all the components must be changed. We need to purchase different components, not same components. That's why that is a static type of system. A continuous system or analog system is a static, not in dynamic, and also non-programmable. If it is programmable, by changing a simple parameter, a simple logic, we can get the design of some other thing. That is not possible in the case of continuous time domain system. That is possible only for digital systems. Then continuous time or analog systems are described by differential equations. Differential equations. Suppose a RC high pass filter is there, RC low pass filter is there. RC high pass filter acts as a differentiator. RC high pass filter acts as a differentiator. Why differentiator? Where output is the differentiation of input. That's why that circuit is called differentiator. Means here relation between output and input. Relation between output and input is y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t, or y of t minus d by dt of x of t is equal to 0. This is a differential equation. This differential equation represents a system. That system is called continuous time domain system or analog system. Analog system or continuous time domain system are represented with a differential equation which involves only differentiates, that may be first order or second order or third order, whatever it may be. These are two examples. RC high pass filter acts as a differentiator, RC low pass filter acts as an integrator, where output is equal to integration of input. Otherwise, differentiate both sides. What happens? D by dt of y of t is equal to x of t, or d by dt of y of t minus x of t is equal to 0. This is one differential equation which shows continuous time domain system. Means continuous time domain systems. Continuous time domain systems are described by differential equation. Okay. Then coming to discrete time system or digital system, there are so many drawbacks under continuous time system. To overcome those drawbacks, you can go for always discrete time system. Discrete time systems are those for which both input and output are discrete time signals, and discrete time systems are constructed or designed by using discrete components. Analog systems are constructed by analog components like resistors, capacitors, inductors. Discrete systems are constructed by discrete system or digital system. Both are constructed by using discrete components like adders. These are the components: adders, constant multipliers, and delays. Delays are nothing but memories. We can design any type of discrete time system by using only these three components. These three components are enough to design any type of digital system or discrete time system. In the case of continuous time, no adder, no multiplier, no delay. Only resistors, capacitors, inductors. If you want to go for diodes or transistors or linear ICs, that is analog ICs, etc., those components are temperature sensitive. That's why the thermal runaway is the major problem in the case of continuous time domain system. Okay, here we are using adders, constant multipliers, and delays. In the case of discrete time system, see, input is a discrete time system, that is x of n. Output is also discrete time system, and components used in the system are also in the form of discrete components. Coming to advantages, thermal stability of discrete time system is very, very high. Means thermally, digital systems or discrete time systems are more stable when compared to analog systems. Then discrete time systems or digital systems are programmable. By changing a simple parameter, you can design like already we have completed the design for a particular output. If you want to change the output like gain, change like from 20 dB to 30 dB or 40 dB, by changing a simple parameter in program or logic, we can get the design of some other system, and these systems are dynamic in nature. Another important point is discrete time or digital systems are described by difference equation, which does not involve differentials, which involves only shifts. In previous case, relation between output and input is called differential equation. The differential equation involves differentiation, but here no differentiation, nothing. Here only shifts are involved. Shift means memory. Shift means past values, delays called as memory elements. Past information can be stored through memory. Here examples very clear. Output, see first example, output. Y of n is nothing but output, x of n is nothing but input. Present output depends on present input x of n, present input x of n, past input x of n minus 1 is past input, x of n minus 2 is also past input. Here present output depends on present input, past inputs, that's all. And in second example, present output depends on present input, past inputs, and past output. Okay, these are the examples. These are the relations among input and output of a discrete time system. This system involves only shifts, and these equations are called difference equations. Difference equation represents a discrete system. Differential equation represents a continuous system. Differential equation involves differentials, and difference equation involves only shifts in the form of past outputs and past inputs, and past outputs. So these are the examples. Coming to second topic, response of discrete time system. Response means output of any system by applying some input x of n. If you apply some input, automatically you can get output. That output is called response of a system. Now we'll see what are different responses. First one is impulse response or unit sample response. It is one most widely used term in communication. Impulse response or unit sample response. If we know the system, apply impulse signal as input to the system. Apply impulse signal as input to the system and observe the output. Whatever output you get is called impulse response. That impulse response is represented with h of n. H of n is the notation used to represent impulse response. Response of a system with an input of impulse signal or unit sample signal or impulse signal delta of n. Delta of n is called impulse response of a system. Then response through convolution. Response of the system can be computed through convolution operation. Any response, any output is the convolution of input and impulse response. First apply impulse signal as input and evaluate the output. Call it as impulse response. Now take the convolution of original input, whatever you are giving input to the system, take that as input, that x of n as input, and take the impulse response h of n, and take the convolution of those two. Input x of n and output h of n is called impulse response. So response of a system. Y of n is equal to x of n convolved with h of n. This is the formula used to evaluate response of a system. Another one is natural response and forced response. This is another important concept. Frequently, we may get some questions on this evaluation of natural response or forced response or response of a system What natural response means? If we know the system, take input is 0. Don't give any input. Without giving any input, by considering initial conditions like in the case of some circuits, initial conditions means current or voltage before, that is t less than 0, at t minus 1, at t is equal minus 1 or minus 2. You need to consider initial conditions to evaluate response of a system without giving any input. Very simple concept here. Don't give any input. Without giving input, evaluate the output by considering initial conditions is called natural response. This natural response is also known as zero input response. Zero input. Why zero input means we are not giving any input to the system. Zero input response. And it is also known as free response. Free from input. That's why it is a free response. Okay, that is the procedure to compute natural response of a system. Without giving input, evaluate the output by considering initial conditions. Okay, second one is uh, force response. Force means there is a input. There is a input force. Now give input, consider input, whatever you are giving input, consider it, and don't consider initial conditions. Opposite. Don't consider initial conditions. Take zero initial conditions. Give input and get the output. Whatever output you will get is called force response. Force response. And sum of these two, natural response and forced response, sum of natural response and forced response is called response of a system. Response of a discrete time system. Response of a discrete time system is the sum of natural response and forced response. Y of n is equal to yn of n and yf of n. This is one important formula, and we will see problems also. Next, classification are properties of systems. Properties of systems, like properties of signals, we have completed various properties of signals. Signal may be even signal or odd signal. Signal may be causal signal or non-causal signal. Signal may be bounded or unbounded. Signal may be periodic or aperiodic. Signal may be deterministic or non-deterministic. Signal may be energy signal or power signal. Similarly, we have properties of systems also. If we know the system, then we can classify, we can test the system for so many things. We'll see one by one. This is general representation of a system. T dot is the notation used to represent a system and give input x of n and output y of n, where T dot is transform operator, and the relation between input x of n and output y of n of a discrete time system is represented with y of n is equal to transformation of x. This is the notation actually. Transformation of input. Transformation of any input, T of x of n is equal to y of n. Y of n is output. Transformation of input is equal to y of n. It shows the output is transformation of, it is the transformation of input. That's the next properties or classification. These are the various properties. Now we need to test the system for all these things, like linear, non-linear systems. If the system is ready-made form, we have to check, we have to test the system for linearity. Linearity means our designed system may be linear, may not be linear, call it as non-linear system. We have to test the system for linearity. Second one is we have to test the system for shift invariant. Shift invariant or variant system. And third one is we have to test the system for static or dynamic. Static systems are there, dynamic systems are there, causal systems are there, non-causal systems are there, stable systems are there, unstable systems are there. And finally, we will see inverse and non-inverse systems. Inverse and non-inverse systems. These are the various types of systems, and also call it as properties of systems. Now we will see one by one. First one is linear property. Linearity, all of you know equations in mathematics also. We have linear equations and non-linear equations, like y is equal to mx plus c or ax plus by plus c is equal to 0 is a linear equation, and circle form or parabolic form or hyperbola, all those things comes under non-linear. Now coming to systems, we have to design a good system. We have to design a good system that in general that good system must be linear shift invariant systems. Linear shift invariant systems and dynamic systems, and we need to design a causal systems and stable systems. Causal systems and stable systems. Finally, we'll see inverse and non-inverse systems. Sometimes there are advantages for inverse systems, sometimes some advantages for non-inverse systems also. Okay, here coming to first one, linear and non-linear system. Here testing is very simple procedure, If we know the system like T dot having some input x of n and output y of n, this is our assumption. Initially, we are assuming x of n is input to the system. We are giving some input and we are getting some output y of n. That y of n is always of the form transformation of input. Transformation of input, that is x of n, is called output of a system. How to test linearity means apply x1 of n as input to the system. Apply x1 of n as input to the system and observe the output. Whatever output you get, take that output, call it as y1 of n. I'm taking here output is y1 of n, that is transformation of input. Transformation of input. This is testing. We are testing, we are giving some input, like if we know amplifier circuit, amplifier, apply weak electrical signal, maybe a sinusoidal signal as input to the system and observe the output. Use some other input and check the output, like that. That is the testing procedure for linearity. Okay. Here we are giving x1 of n as input to the system and we are observing the output. That output y1 of n is transformation of x1 of n. And in second case, here we are giving input as x2 of n, different from first one. Now give a different input, call it as x2 of n to the same system. System is same, but input is changing from x1 of n to x2 of n. Now observe the output. Definitely, if input varies, output also varies. Take that output as y2 of n, that is transformation of x2 of n. Now what we have to do? Apply linear combination of previous inputs x1 of n and x2 of n. Previous inputs means x1 of n and x2 of n are previous inputs. Linear combination of these two means multiply first signal with some constant, multiply some other constant with second signal, add those two. That is the linear combination. Call it as ax1 plus bx2. That is the linear combination of previous inputs. Okay, now apply the linear combination of previous inputs, that is ax1 of n plus bx2 of n as input to the system, same system, and observe the output. Observe the output. If the output is exactly equal to a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n, for this input, for the input a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n, output is exactly equal to a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n, then blindly you can say that system is linear. Then you can say that system is linear if the output is different from this. If the output is different from this, that is linear combination of previous outputs, then can say that system is non-linear. Always we have to design a linear system. Okay. Now see the final consolidation here. For a discrete time system, give linear input like this: ax1 of n plus bx2 of n, and observe the output. That output is ay1 of n plus by2 of n. That is transformation of input ax1 of n plus bx2 of n. Now, condition for linear system. This is the condition for linear system. If these two are not same, then system is called as non-linear. And important points: every linear system must satisfy superposition principle. All of you know superposition principle. If we know a big circuit, our task is to calculate current flows to a particular element or voltage across a particular element is our task. Then what we have to do? Use only one source, that may be current source or voltage source. Use only one source and evaluate the current. Use only second source, evaluate the current. Use only third source, evaluate the current. Final total current flows to that particular element is the algebraic sum of all those things, is called superposition principle. Here also same thing we are doing. We are giving x1 of n as input sometime, x2 of n as input. Finally, to take total output, we are taking the linear combination of a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n. That's why every linear system must satisfy superposition principle. Next, another important point is linearity is the combination of additivity and homogeneity. These are the two properties. Additivity is one property, homogeneity is another property. Combination of these two is called linear property. Means linear property is exactly equal to additive property plus homogeneity property. What is additive property? See, very simple thing. Additive property is transformation of x1 of n plus x2 of n is equal to transformation of x1 of n plus transformation of x2 of n, that is y1 of n plus y2 of n. Meaning of this statement is, if we know the system T dot, apply x1 of n as input and take the output as y1 of n. Apply another input x2 of n as input and observe the output y2 of n. If we give some like x1 of n plus x2 of n as input to the system, then the response is exactly equal to y1 of n plus y2 of n. Then that system satisfies like additivity property. That system satisfies additivity property. Another one is homogeneity. That is another different property. Homogeneity means what? If we know the input and output of a system like x of n and y of n, Now apply input as k into x of n, means constant into x of n. Apply as k into x of n as input to the system. Apply k into x of n as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is k into y of n, then blindly you can say the system satisfies homogeneity property. If any system satisfies additivity and homogeneity, such systems are called linear systems. Means every linear system must satisfy additive property as well as homogeneity property. Okay, these are some important points comes under linearity. Then another property is shift invariant and variant systems. This is another property, shift invariant and shift variant system. In general, it is the representation of a system. Now apply x of n minus n naught as input to the system, means take delayed form or advanced form as x of n, delayed form or advanced form of x of n, and apply the delayed form as input to the system. Delayed form. Suppose our class is a system. Our class is system which is scheduled from 2:30 to 4:30, 2 hours duration. If the input delays by 10 minutes, like if you start at 2:40 instead of 2:30, if it is started at 2:35 or 2:40, then we have to take class up to 2:35 or 2:40. Okay, if input is delayed, output should be delayed for good system. That is called shift invariant system. For every shift invariant system, if input is delayed by n naught units, if input is delayed by n naught units, definitely output also delayed by same amount of n, that is n naught units only. Output also delayed by n naught units. Okay, if input is delayed, then we have to take delayed output. Okay, that mathematical form is like this: y of n minus n naught is equal to transformation of x of n minus n naught. If input is delayed, then output is delayed. Such systems are called shift invariant systems. Shift invariant systems. Otherwise, if these two are same, these two are different, then the system is called shift variant systems. In the case of continuous time domain systems, where systems are called time invariant systems, time invariant and time variant used for continuous time domain systems, shift invariant and shift variant used for discrete time systems, discrete time systems. Now static and dynamic systems. Static and dynamic systems. This is the system representation where we are giving input as x of n and output is y of n. Y of n. So in some cases, present output depends on only present input. Present output depends on only present input. Such systems are called static systems. Static means there is no memory. These are memory-less systems. Static systems are called memory-less systems. For example, suppose now we are taking a class. This is one class. Right now I am telling something to you. You are understanding based on my lecture, means based on present input, not past. Past things are not stored in your brain. Your brain is empty. Your brain is empty. Now I have to tell everything to you. Everything I have to explain each and every point because you don't have memory. Your memory is not working. Meaning of that is present output means whatever you are storing in your brain depends on present input. What I am telling present, what you are understanding present. That's all. That such systems are called static systems, not dynamic. Static systems where present output depends on only present input. No past, no past things are not included in this system. Then coming to dynamic systems are those for which present output depends on present inputs, present inputs, past inputs, x of n minus 1. Past means what? Suppose x of n is present, x of n minus 1 is past, x of n minus 2 is past. These are the past outputs. Y of n is present output, y of n minus 1 is past, y of n minus 2 also past. If present output depends on present input, past inputs and past outputs. Sometimes future, we have to design some systems by considering future inputs and outputs also. Future means x of n plus 1, x of n plus 2. future output. This is future input, future output, y of n plus 1, y of n plus, y of n plus 2. Future means what? Next class input, next class input. Based on that, you may store in your brain, that is future, future outputs. Future, this is future input, this is future output. In the case of dynamic system, present output may depends on present input, past inputs, past outputs, future inputs, and future outputs. Okay, these are the things involved in the case of dynamic system. Dynamic systems are called memory systems. Static systems are called memory-less systems. Memory-less systems. Next one is causal and non-causal systems. Causal and non-causal systems. This is the general representation of a system. Given system is said to be causal only when present output depends on present input, past inputs, and past outputs. Present output of a system depends on present input, past inputs, and past outputs. No future. It is very difficult to design a system which where output may depends on future also. Future. Right now I am telling something to you. You are understanding based on my lecture and based on past lectures. Based on past lectures, not future. Not future. If future is included, such things are called non-causal. Non-causal. Those are not practical, not physically realizable. Non-causal systems are not physically realizable. Non-causal systems are not practical. Not practical. Always you can go for causal system design where present output may depends on present input, past inputs, and past output. Does not depends on future. Does not depends on future. But in the case of dynamic systems where present output may depends on future also. Present output may depends on future also. Means all non-causal systems are causal systems may be dynamic. Causal and non-causal systems may be dynamic, because in the case of dynamic system, dynamic means memory is included. Is called that memory may be past or future. Future is also a memory, past is also a memory. Here past is included, future is also included. Okay, causal means only past, no future. Non-causal, where future may included in the case of non-causal systems. Then another important parameter is, it is one important and most useful thing in the system design, is called stability. Stability of a system. Here system may be stable or unstable. Always you can go for stable system. Stable system design. What stable system design we will see. This is the general representation of a system. Here x of n is input, y of n is output. Apply bounded signal as input to the system. Bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. System is very good. System is very good system where we are giving bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is also bounded, then blindly you can say that the system is stable, where we are giving bounded input and we are getting bound output. That's why stable systems are also known as BIBO systems, bounded input, bounded output systems. For example, this is our class. Here my lecture is good. If input is good, if students are listening carefully, if input is good, automatically output may be good. Gate score or some other thing, output may be good. Very clear. System is always good. Let us assume system is always good and give good input, automatically will get a good output. Next, here we need to test the system is good or bad. That is the second thing. Here we are testing the system is good or bad. How? Give good input to the system. Give good input to the system and observe the output. If the output is good, definitely system is good. If output is bad, then system is bad. Like that, system stability can be verified like this. Apply bounded signal as input to the system. Bound means good. apply bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is bounded, if the output is good, if the output is bounded, then system is said to be stable, where we are giving bounded signal as input, bounded signal as output. That's why stable systems are also known as BIVO systems, bounded input, bound output systems. BIPO, bound input, bound output systems. Mathematically, these are represented like this. If x of n is finite, means input is bounded, then output y of n is bounded. If input is bounded, then output is bounded for all values of n. This is the condition for BIBO, BIBO systems, bound input, bound output systems, where output is bounded, input is bounded. And checking mathematical, this is a testing process. In examination, they will do impulse response or a system characterized by some equation. Then evaluate the summation over wide range of time like this. Summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, modulus of x of n, modulus of h of n. Here, h of n is nothing but impulse response of a system. Impulse response of a system. If the impulse response is absolutely summable, if the impulse response is absolutely summable, then blindly you can say that system is stable. System is stable. For every stable system, this is one important condition or restriction. For every system, impulse response is absolutely summable. In the case of continuous time domain system, impulse response is absolutely integrable. If the impulse response is absolutely integrable, then blindly you can say that the system is stable. Stability and causality are two important parameters in the system design. Causality means causal system means where present output may depends on present input, past inputs and past outputs, but does not depends on future inputs and outputs. In any system, if the system output depends on future inputs and outputs, then that particular system is called non-causal. Non-causal. Don't go for non-causal system design. Always go for causal system. Another one is stable system. We have to design a good system. That good system must be stable and causal. That should be stable system. That should be a causal system. Causal system. For every stable system, give good input and observe the output. Good lecture is input to the system. You have to give good lecture, good teaching to the system. Then output may be good, may not be good. If the output is good, then the particular system is called stable. Otherwise, unstable. Then next property is inverse and non-inverse systems. Inverse and non-inverse systems. Here, what are inverse systems and what are non-inverse systems? See how to test the system for invertibility. Okay, take same system where input is x of t, or this is defined in continuous time domain. Can define in discrete time also. It is defined in continuous time domain representation. Okay, give x of t as input and take y of t as output. This is original system actually. This is original system where we have given x of t as input, y of t as output. Now my question is to you, design one more system. Design one more system where give previous output as input to the system. Previous output as input to the system. And get original input. Recover the original input based on the output. After getting output, recover input by using some other system. Whatever system you have designed to get original input or recover original input is called inverse system. That property is called invertibility or inverse system. Okay, see, inverse systems are represented like this. T inverse dot. T dot is a representation for normal systems, original system, and inverse system is represented with T inverse, where y of t is input and x of t is output. After completion of your system design, once the system design is over, give some input and observe the output. You can get some output. Give that output as input to the one more system, maybe like cascading arrangement. Here two systems are connected in cascade. Two systems are connected in cascade. Initially, we are giving some input. Intermediate result, we are getting some output. That intermediate result is fed back to second system and get first original input. Original input. This is called recover. Recovering the things. Original input. If that is possible sometimes, that is not possible sometimes. Means not possible to design a second system such that the output of second system is equal to x of t. Not possible to recover where original input from a particular system or second system or cascaded system. Then that system is called non-invertible. Not possible to design second system, then it is a non-invertible. If it is possible, it is an inverse system. Here, two important points under this inverse system. If the system produces zero output, this is very important. If the system produces zero output for any input, then that particular system is non-inverse system. Here, system is there where we are giving some input. For a particular input, output is zero. For a particular input, output is zero. If output is zero, then how to recover input by using some other system where output zero means that zero is fed back to some other system. We have to apply that zero to some other system. It is very difficult to retain the original input because output is zero. Output is zero. Once the output is zero, then we cannot design inverse system for that. That is one thing, one important condition. Another is if the system produces same output for different inputs. Suppose give some input x1 of n, observe the output. Give some other input x2 of n. Input changes from x1 of n to x2 of n. But in our output side, output is constant, same output for two different inputs. At that moment also, we cannot design inverse system. Not possible to design inverse system. That system is also called non-inverse system. There are two restrictions. Output cannot be zero, one thing. Another thing, for two different inputs, output cannot be same. These are the different properties of, okay, all these properties are very important in examination. You may get questions on this in competitive examination. These properties are, once again we will see, linear, non-linear systems. Linear system must satisfy superposition principle. Linear system must satisfy homogeneity and additivity and homogeneity. Then shift invariant system. If input is delayed or advanced, then output also delayed or advanced by same amount of value. Such systems are called shift invariant system. If a particular system satisfies linearity and shift invariant, such systems are called linear shift invariant systems. Based on these two things, systems are classified into linear shift invariant systems, linear shift variant systems, non-linear shift invariant systems, non-linear shift variant systems. Okay, that is one thing. Next one is, these two are similar things. Static and dynamic systems, causal and not same, similar things. Static systems are called memory-less systems. Memory-less means where present output depends on only present input. Present output depends on only present input. No memory. There is no memory. There is no storage. Then coming to dynamic, opposite. Dynamic systems are called memory systems. Therefore, static and dynamic systems are also known as memory and memory-less systems. Memory and memory-less systems. Then causal and non-causal. Causal system is where present output may depends on present input, past inputs and past output. These are physically realizable systems. All causal systems are called physically realizable systems. And non-causal means where present output may depends on future also. Not only present input and past inputs, may depends on future inputs and outputs also. Then stable and unstable systems, where we have to give bounded signal as input to the system. Bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is bounded, then the system is called stable. If the output is unbounded, then system is called unstable. But we have to give always bounded signal as input to the system. We have to give bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is bounded, then system is stable. Then inverse and non-inverse systems, it is important. It is important thing. Inverse and non-inverse systems. Inverse systems may not be possible always. When not possible means if output is 0 for any input, then inverse system design is not possible. If output is constant for two different inputs, output is constant, then also inverse system is not possible. Concept of inverse system is if for original system input is x of n and output is y of n, design one more system to produce x of n by taking input as y of n. Means output of first system may be connected into input to the second system to get original input. If that is possible, then that second system is called inverse of first system, or first system is called inverse of second system, vice versa. Okay, all these properties are very important. Then coming to problems, we will see different problems, different concepts. In examination, they will give a system like discrete time system described by y of n is equal to transformation of x of n, that is 2x of n plus 3 for linearity. This is one system where input is x of n, output is 2x of n plus 3. It looks like y is equal to mx plus 3. Y is equal to mx plus 3. Y is equal to mx plus 3 is a straight line, is a linear equation. But in the systems, here meaning of this is we are giving input as x of n. Output 2 times x of n means amplification. 2 times x of n is amplification. Plus 3 means DC level shifter. DC value increases by 3 units. DC level shifter, it includes DC level shifting and amplitude scaling. First see the process, finally we will see the answer. In examination, no need to do all these things. Straightforward by seeing this mathematical form itself, we can pick correct answer. Okay. See the procedure first. Given discrete time system, y of n is equal to t of x of n is equal to 2x of n plus 3. Now, apply x1 of n as input to the system. Our procedure is like that. Apply x1 of n as input to the system and observe the output. Observe the output of this system, given system. Now see y1 of n, how it looks like. Y1 of n is equal to, what is this? Transformation of x1 of n, that is equal to 2x1 of n plus 3. Just replace x with x1, y with y1. That's all. Means here we are giving x1 of n as input to the system and we are taking y1 of n as output to the system. Now repeat same procedure where apply x2 of n as input to the system and observe the output and take it as y2 of n. Y2 of n is equal to transformation of x2 of n, that is equal to 2x2 of n plus 3. Now what we have to do, take the linear combination, that is a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n. A into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n. Very clear. This is y1 of n, multiply with a. This is y2 of n, multiply with b. A into this answer 2x1 of n plus 3 plus b into second answer 2x2 of n plus 3. Take this product. Here 2a x1 of n plus 3a, 3 into a, 3a plus 2b x2 of n plus 3b. Now final answer is here. See 2a x1 of n plus 2b x2 of n plus 3a plus 3b, or 3 times a plus b. Take it as equation 1. Now apply a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n as input to the system. In linear system, what we are doing? Initially we are giving x1 of n as input to the system, and observe the output and take that output as y1 of n. Next step is apply x2 of n as input and observe the output and take it as y2 of n. Now take the linear combination of those two inputs, that is ax1 of n plus bx2 of n as input to the system and observe the output. That output is a y1 of n plus b y2 of n. That is the procedure. Already we got first equation as a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n. Now apply this input ax1 of n plus bx2 of n as input to the same system. What will get? See, transformation of ax1 of n plus bx2 of n is equal to, according to the same formula, is equal to, what is the equation? 2x of n plus 3, 2 into input. Transformation of input is equal to 2 into input plus 3, 2 into input. What is that input? ax1 of n plus bx2 of n plus 3. Now take the product. What will get? 2a x1 of n plus 2b x2 of n plus 3. Take it as second equation. Now compare equation 1 and equation 2. Equation 1 and equation 2. Now here equation 1 is very clear. It is 2a x1 of n plus 2b x2 of n plus 3a plus 3b. But see, this is simply plus 3. Remaining is same. This part is, first part is same, but second part is here simply 3. But here 3 times a plus b. These two are not same. These two are not same. Compare equations 1 and 2 implies a y1 of n plus b y2 of n is not equal to transformation of a x1 of n plus b x2 of n. Therefore, given system is non-linear, but given system looks like linear. 2x of n plus the examination, no need to do all these things. Simple logic here is constant systems are always non-linear. Constant systems are always non-linear. Why constant systems are non-linear? Means if the constant, if the output is constant, irrespective of your input, whatever input you are giving, for different inputs, output is constant, means what is the use of that system? Output does not changes due to change in input. Such things are called non-linear systems. Okay, we have to keep in mind all constant systems are non-linear. That is one thing. Next, constant coefficient. This is constant coefficient. Constant coefficient, no problem for linearity. We will see next remaining things also. Okay. Actually, this is the procedure. This is the procedure we have used. We have to follow to test the signal for linearity. To test the signal for linearity, we have to follow this procedure. Then second problem, C. Difference between first and second, C. I have given complete procedure, but in examination, no need to write all these steps. If we follow some standard things like constant systems are non-linear, very clear. Next, test the discrete time system y of n is equal to transformation of x of n is equal to 2x of n plus 3x of n minus 1. Previous one is a static system. It is static. Just present output depends on present input. No memory. But here difference is, see, this is present output, this is present input, this is past input. Past input. Here memory is included. That's why the second example is dynamic system. Second example is dynamic system. First one is static. First one is static and non-linear. Static and non-linear. Here it is dynamic, and we will see the linearity now. Linearity. What is the procedure for linearity? Apply x1 of n as input to the system and observe the output. That is first step. Second step is what? Apply x2 of n as input to the system and observe the output. Now what we have to do? Apply the linear combination of y1 of n and y2 of n. Take that a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n. Now what we have to do? Apply ax1 of n plus bx2 of n as input to the system and observe the output. Okay. Here we got equation 1. Here we got equation 2. After getting equation 2, compare first equation and second equation. Very simple thing. Compare first equation and second equation. Compare equation 1 and 2, that is a into y1 of n plus b into y2 of n is equal to transformation of a into x1 of n plus b into x2 of n. Both are same. In second problem, transformation of input is equal to linear combination of outputs. There is no problem for linearity. It is a linear system because constant term is not included in second system. Here constant like +3 in previous case, +3 is a constant where output is constant. Because of that constant only system is non-linear, but this system does not include constant. Here 3 times x of n minus 1 shows past input, present input, past inputs are included. That's why it is a linear system. This is the procedure we have to follow. Okay. Next one is test the discrete system. Y of n is equal to transformation of x of n is equal to 2x of n plus 3 for time invariance. Here given discrete time system, same first, this is first example, but here it is testing for time invariance. What is time invariance? Apply delayed form of x of n as input to the system. Apply delayed form of x of n as input to the system and observe the output. If input is delayed, then check output whether output is delayed or not. If the output is delayed, then the system is called shift invariant. If output is not delayed or delayed by different value, then system is called time variant. There are two things, time invariant and time variant. In the case of time invariant, both input and outputs are shifted by same amount of value. If input delay is different or input shift is different and output shifts are different, such things are called shift variant. First we have to check the procedure. First we have to know the procedure because basic things are very important. Okay, this is given system. This is given system. What we have to do? Initial procedure: apply delayed form of x of n as input to the system. Delayed form of x of n as input to the system, that is x of n minus n naught as input to the system. For this system, this is input. Now observe the output. What we have to do? Replace x of n with x of n minus n naught. What will get? Transformation of x of n minus n naught is equal to 2 times x of n minus n naught plus 3. In this, blindly replace input. What we are doing here? We are applying delayed form of x of n as input to the system. The delayed form is x of n minus n naught. Transformation of x of n minus n naught is equal to 2 times x of n minus n naught plus 3, where n naught is delay. Now, output of given discrete system. This is output. Now, delay this output. Delay means what? Replace n with n minus n naught. Replace discrete time n with n minus n naught, because our task is to take the delay, input delay and output delay. If both the delays are same, then blindly you can say that system is time invariant, n with n minus n naught. Here in this system, replace n with n minus n naught. What will get? Y of, in this replace n with n minus n naught, y of n minus n naught is equal to 2 times x of n minus n naught plus 3. 2 times x of n minus n naught plus 3. Now see the difference between these two, equation 1 and equation 2. In first, what we have done? Input is delayed. Then in second equation, output also delayed. Now verify equation 1 and equation 2. Check. These two are same. Therefore, y of n minus n naught is equal to transformation of x of n minus n naught. Therefore, given system is time invariant. No problem for time invariant. But There is a problem in linearity. Same thing is failed in linearity. First problem. Same thing is failed in linearity. First question. It is a non-linear system. It is non-linear system, but it is time invariant system. Time invariant is a good system. Non-linear is not good. Okay, now here final conclusion. This system means amplification and DC level shifter. Amplification and DC level shifting. This problem is non-linear shift invariant system. Fails non-linearity. No problem for shift invariant. Now see another problem. Test the discrete time system. Y of n is equal to transformation of x of n, that is equal to n x of n plus 3 for time invariance. See the difference. Previously 2x of n plus 3. Now n x of n plus 3. N x of n plus 3. Now repeat the procedure. Previous procedure. Given discrete time system, transformation of x of n is equal to n x of n. N means here coefficient is variable. Previously coefficient is constant. 2x of n means coefficient is constant, that is amplification. Now here amplification is a variable quantity, not constant, not a constant value. Now given discrete time system is like this, n into x of n plus 3. What we have done in previous case? Apply delayed form of x of n, that is x of n minus n naught as input to the system. Means replace x of n with x of n minus n naught. Simply replace x of n with x of n minus n naught. What will get? Transformation of x of n minus n naught. Transformation of x of n minus n naught is equal to n into x of n minus n naught plus 3. Blindly we have replaced input with x of n minus n naught. That is delayed form of input. Delayed form of x of n as input to the system. Now, in second case, what we have to do? Take output of the discrete system, that is y of n is equal to n x of n plus 3, where replace n with n minus n naught. Replace n with n minus n naught means where we are assuming output also delayed by same amount of value, n minus n naught. If we replace n with n minus n naught, what will get in this equation? Y of n minus n naught is equal to, see, instead of this is not 2, this is n here. Replace n with n minus n naught here. Y of n minus n naught is equal to n minus n naught x of n minus n naught plus 3. Now compare equations 1 and 2. What equation 1? N x of n minus n naught plus 3. But here n minus n naught x of n minus n naught plus 3. See, these two equations are not same. These two equations are not same. Therefore, given system, these two equations not same. Therefore, given system is time variant. Why this is time variant? Because of variable coefficient. Variable coefficient. Variable coefficient signals systems are time variant. Time variant. Therefore, we have to go for constant coefficients difference equations. All constant coefficient difference equations are time invariant. Variable coefficient things comes under time variant. Okay, this is another example. Next, test the continuous time system. Y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t is equal to d by dt of x of t plus d square by dt square of x of t. In previous case, we have considered discrete time systems. This is in continuous time domain. This is in continuous differentiation. Differentiation is involved where? In continuous time domain systems. Now check the system for linearity. Okay, Differentiation operation is always linear. No need to do all those things. Simply differentiation d by dt of x of t plus y of t. D by dt of x of t plus y of t is what? D by dt of x of t plus d by dt of y of t. D by dt of y of t means differentiation is always a linear property. No problem for linearity. Okay, if such things are included, no need to do this complete analysis. Okay, because of differentiation, we can say that the system is linear system as well as time invariant systems. But variable coefficients, like it is multiplied like this, t into d square by dt square of x of t. Because of this t, the system is time variant. Time variant. It cannot be like that. Okay, that is another example. Next, see, and here no need to solve all these things without doing any calculation part. You can say the system for we can check the system for various properties. Now we'll see here. They are asking very simple question. Test the following systems for linear time invariant. In examination, we may get some questions like, okay, here we will see all different types of examples. Just we are checking for linear time invariant. Linear time invariant, already told you, it is also known as linear shift invariant. Linear time invariant or linear shift, SHIFT. Linear time invariant or shift invariant, both are same. In general, shift is used for discrete systems. Linear time invariant, that is used for continuous time domain system. We can use both, no problem. Okay. See, y of n is equal to t of x of n is equal to 2x of n minus 3y of n minus 1. Here, constant coefficients, no problem. Constant coefficients, and there is no DC level shifter. There is no DC level shifter. That's why such type of things are called linear shift invariant. Linear shift invariant. Second example, here this first example is, it is actually present, it includes present input and past input. Present input, past input. Second example, present input, past output. Past output, again no problem. It includes only constant coefficients. Constant coefficients, and this is n minus 1 means past, n plus 1. N plus 1 means future. No problem for that, future and past. Next, third example is y of n is equal to transformation of input is equal to, this is one important relation. Here it includes present output. This is present output. If you substitute k is equal to 1 here, k equal to 1, k equal to 3, dash, 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 output becomes past. Y of n minus 1 is past output. Y of n minus 2 is also past output. Y of n minus 3 also past outputs. Means here present output depends on past outputs, plus if k is 0, it will become x of n means present input. This is present input. Present input, if k equal to 1, then past input, again k equal to past input, means here relation, this relation is present output depends on present input, past inputs, past outputs, and it involves constant coefficients. Coefficients are constants, ak and bk are constant coefficients. Because of constant coefficients and there is no DC level shifter, that's why these systems are called linear shift invariant systems. Linear shift invariant systems. Next, see another set. These are the different questions. N into x of n. N. Because of this n, this is not constant coefficient. Because of n, because of this n, this is not a time invariant system. This is shift variant system. Because of n, it is shift variant. And there is no constant like output constant plus 3 like that. There is no constant system. That's why this is a linear system. So linearity, no problem. Just I will check time invariance. Next, n square. Again, n square comes under time variant. Time variant. Again, 2x of n square. This n square cannot be. N square cannot be included in time invariant systems. Okay. Again, this is time variant system. Next, 2n. 2n. X of 2n. Here, time changes. Time. Actual time is n, but here we have considered 2n. 2 into n. That's why this is also shift variant system. Shift variant system. Again, n by 2. Because of n by 2. Because of n. Because of variable coefficient. Variable coefficient cannot be included in time variant system or shift variant system. Okay, because of n and n by 2, this system is shift variant. Next, 2x of 3 root n. Root n cannot be included in shift variant system. But in every case, system is linear. In every case, system is linear. All systems are linear systems, but fails in time invariant property. All are shift variant systems. Okay. In first case, all the three are linear. All the three are shift invariant. But in this case, all the systems are linear. No problem for linearity. Fails at time invariance. All are shift variant systems. Then coming to third set. See, 3x square n. This is a different story. X square like a plus b whole square, x square, x1 plus x2 whole square. X1 plus x2 whole square is not equal to x1 square plus x2 square. That's why this is a non-linear system. Here our concentration is linearity. We have to check linearity. Okay, because of square, this is non-linear system. Next, constant. Already told you, all constant systems are non-linear systems. Next, 2 to the power of x of n. Because of 2 power x of n, 2 power x of n is no problem, but 2 power x of n is non-linear because 2 power x1 plus x2. Let us assume 2 power x1 plus x2 is not equal to 2 power x1 plus 2 power x2. That is the reason for non-linearity. Next, e power x of n. E to the power of x of n. E to the power of x of n is also non-linear. Anything power x of n. E power x of n means e power x1 plus x2 is not equal to e power x1 plus e power x2. That's why exponential signals are always non-linear. Next, a cos x of n. A cos x means cos of x1 plus x2. Let us assume cos of x1 plus x2. Cos of x1 plus x2, cos of a plus b, like cos of a plus b is not equal to cos a plus cos b. That's why it is a non-linear system. Then logarithmic functions. Log of any input. Log of x of n means log of a plus b, like let us assume log of a plus b is not equal to log a plus log b. That's why all logarithmic functions, cos functions, cos with trigonometric, all sinusoidal signals, all exponential signals, all constant signals, or square signals, cube signals, root signals, all these things, all these systems or signals comes under non-linear systems. Next, 2 by x of n. Because of by x of n, 2 by x of n means 2 by a plus b. 2 by a plus b is not equal to 2 by a plus 2 by b. That's why it is also a non-linear system. Okay, here our concentration in this set is we are checking for non-linear. That is linearity actually. Based on this, we can say that system is linear or non-linear. All these systems are non-linear, but there is no problem for shift invariant. Here, major problem is shift invariant. These are shift variant systems, not invariant systems, but no problem for linearity. Here, everything okay. Linear system as well as shift invariant system. Based on linearity and shift invariant, we can classify the signal, we can classify the system as linear shift invariant system, linear shift variant system, non-linear shift invariant systems, non-linear shift variant system. These are the various properties comes under linearity and shift invariant. Another set, see what here, it fails linearity, non-linear, and it shifts, it fails invariant also. It fails both linearity as well as shift invariant. That's why such type of systems are called non-linear shift variant system. Okay, now we see one by one why it is, it fails in both the cases, both linearity and why fails means because of n, because of n it is shift variant, because of square it is non-linear. Next, because of x square it is non-linear, because of n square it is shift variant, because of constant, because of constant it is non-linear, because of n into x, because of n, because of n it is shift variant. Next, because of 2 power it is non-linear, because of 3n it is shift variant, because of exponential non-linear, because of n by 2 shift variant, because of cos function, because of cos function it is non-linear, because of 2n, because of 2 times n. If n, okay, because of 2 times n it is shift variant. N log xn, because of logarithm it is non-linear, because of n it is shift variant. Then 2 by, because of 2 by x, 2 by x is non-linear, because of 2n, because of 2n is shift variant. Then n by x of n, because of 1 by xn is non-linear, because it multiplied with n, that's why it is a shift variant. Okay, now it is very clear. We can tell any system for linearity and shift invariance. Both the properties are very important. Based on these two properties we can solve questions like linear, we can classify as linear shift invariant systems, linear shift variant systems, non-linear shift invariant systems, non-linear shift variant systems. Shift and time we can replace shift invariant, time invariant, both are same. In general, shift is used for continuous discrete time systems. Time variant, like time, is used for continuous time systems as well as discrete. For especially in the case of discrete domain, we can go for shifts. Okay, that's the end of that problem. Next problem. Test the following systems for static and dynamic. Already told you, static systems are called memory-less systems. Static systems are called memory-less systems. Dynamic systems are called memory systems. Memory systems. See, present output depends on present input, x of n. It is a static system. Once again, present output depends on x of n, x square n. X of n is present, x square n is also present, x cube n is also present, root xn is also present. Okay, such things comes under static, where no memory. Next, y of n is equal to n square x of n. Again, present output depends on only present input. That's why it is also static. Again, present output depends on present input, only present input, n. Okay, it is also static. See the next example, y of n is equal to 2 power x of n. Here, see, everywhere x of n, 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 x of n. Remaining things may be different. Don't worry. Here, our focus is whether present output depends on present input or not. If it is depends on present input, it simply you can say that it is memory-less systems, no memory. That's why these are static systems. In the case of static systems where present output depends on only present input. Next set. This is next set. All these things are dynamic systems. Why these are dynamic? See, one by one. First one, y of n is equal to transformation of x of n is equal to 2x of n plus 3x of n minus 1. See here, present output depends on present input and past inputs. Present input and past inputs means present is there, past is also there. Past is called memory. X of n minus 1 is called memory. Memory is included, that's why it is a dynamic system. In the case of dynamic system, present output may depends on past or future or both. Means anyhow memory is included, delay is there. Now see here, second one, present, past, present input, past input, past, that's why dynamic. Next, y of n, n plus 1 is future, n plus 1 is future things are included, that's why it is a dynamic. Next, see here, y of n minus 3, y of n minus 3 is past output, memory is a dynamic. X of n minus 5, n minus 5 means what? Past input again is a memory. Next, y of n minus k, y of n minus k is past output, x of n minus k is past input, past, that's why it is a dynamic. Next, x of n minus k, x of n minus k is also a past value, past when compared to x of n. In this case, everywhere present output may depends on present input as well as some past inputs or future inputs or past outputs. That's why all these things comes under dynamic. Dynamic systems are called memory systems. Memory means maybe past information may be included or future information may be included. Okay, these are different problems. Actually, these are different problems in examination. You may get questions on that. We need to check, we need to test. Next one is test the following systems for causal and non-causal. We have to verify which are causal systems and which are non-causal systems. Causal system means what? For every causal system, present output may depends on present input, past inputs and past outputs. And all static systems comes under causal systems only. Static means what? Where present output may depends on only present input, no memory. Causal means what? Where present output may depends on only present inputs or present inputs and past inputs or present inputs and future also. No, not future. Present inputs, past inputs, present inputs, past outputs are present inputs, past inputs and past outputs. Those things are called causal. Now first set you see, this is present input, this is also present input, here present input, here present input. In all the three cases, present output may depends on only present input. Such type of systems are called static systems as well as causal systems. Static and causal. Okay. Next set see, causal and dynamic. Causal means what? There is a memory. See, present output depends on present input and past outputs. Past inputs Then this is also x of n minus 2, fast input, and fast output, fast input. Means in every system, memory is there. Memory is included. That's why this is a memory system. Memory systems are called dynamic system. Causal system means where future cannot be included. Future, see, future is not there. Future is not there. No, future means plus is called future. There is no future. That's why all these systems are called causal systems. Causal systems and dynamic systems. Okay. First one is causal and static. Causal and static. Next one, non-causal and dynamic. Non-causal. Non-causal means future things may be included. If future information is included, then such type of systems are called non-causal systems. And dynamic. Dynamic means what? Simply memory is there. Simply memory. That memory may be past or future. Okay. Next, see. N plus 2. N plus 2 means future. N plus 2 means future and memory. Future, that's why non-causal. N by 2. N by 2 is also future. Why? Means if n is equal to minus 100. If n is equal to minus 100. N by 2 minus 50. Minus 50 is future when compared to minus 100. Minus 100 is present. Minus 50 is future. That is for negative values it fails. Then x of minus n. X of minus n is also future. For example, if n is equal to minus 5. N is equal to minus 5. Then here x of 5. X of 5. Here y of minus 5. Y of minus 5 depends on x of 5. This is called future term because of minus sign. Next, n plus k. Very important. N plus is future. N plus is future. And see last one. This n minus k is past only, but in the summation we are taking k equal to minus 4 to infinity. Minus 4. Negative values, no. If we substitute k is equal to minus 4 here, it will become x of n plus 4. X of n plus 4 is called future. All future, suppose if present output depends on future input or future output, such things are called non-causal. Non-causal means future, causal means no future. Okay, only present, past, only present and past in the case of causal. And dynamic means memory, simply memory is there, call it as dynamic. Next example is test the following systems. Test the following systems for causal and non-causal. Causal and non-causal. See, half power n u of n. This is impulse response actually. Previously, systems are defined by using input and output. Input and output. Now, systems are defined by using impulse response. Impulse response. Already told you somewhere for a causal system. Okay, without the expression also, we can tell by using this. H of n is equal to half power n u of n. This is impulse response actually. Impulse response. What u of n shows? U of n is unit step signal. It is right-sided. It is right-sided. Means here impulse response is right-sided. Here impulse response is, second example, right-sided. Impulse response is right-sided. All right-sided impulse responses comes under causal. For every causal system, impulse response is right-sided. This is another property. For every causal system, impulse response is right-sided. That is one important condition or restriction on impulse response of a causal system. Next, non-causal system. For non-causal system, impulse response may be left-sided or both-sided sometimes. Okay, this impulse response is left-sided. That's why it is a non-causal system. This impulse response is also left side. Left side means why it is left side? u of minus n. U of n is right-sided causal, u of minus n is left-sided non-causal. If the impulse response is right-sided, then blindly you can say that system is causal. If the impulse response is left-sided, then you can say that the system is non-causal. Non-causal. Next, see this example. Test the discrete time system h of n for stability. Means if we know impulse response, based on impulse response also, we can classify the system for causality as well as stability. Causality as well as stability. For causal system, impulse response is right-sided. For non-causal system, impulse response is left-sided. That is based on impulse response. Then coming to stability, I already told you, impulse response is absolutely summable. Impulse response is absolutely summable for every causal system. For every causal system, impulse response is absolutely summable. Very simple example. See here, h of n is equal to half power n u of n. This is given example. This is causal system. We have seen because of u of n, because of u of n, it is right side signal. It is causal. It is causal system. Now we are testing for stability. How? Evaluate absolute summation like this. Summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity modulus of h of n. That is summation modulus of h of n. H of n means what? Half power n u of n. Half power n u of n. U of n means what? It is right sided. Means it is where n starting from horizon. 0 to infinity. For negative values it is 0. Therefore 0 to infinity half power n. Expand the summation, what will get? Put n is equal to 0, 1 by 2 power 0, that is 1 plus n is equal to 1, 1 by 2 plus n is equal to 1 by 2 whole square, dash, 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 dash. It is of the form 1 plus r square plus dash, 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 dash is equal to 1 by 1 minus r formula. It is an infinite geometrical series. For a infinite geometrical series, sum of terms like 1 plus r square dash dash is 1 by 1 minus r. 1 by 1 minus r. 1 by 1 minus 1 by 2. It is 1 by half, that is 2. 2 is finite. Result is finite. If the summation n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, modulus of h of n is finite, then blindly we can say that the system is bibostable. Bibostable or simply stable. For every stable system, impulse response is absolutely summable. Absolutely summable means that summation is finite value. Now, here, given causal system is stable because the impulse response is absolutely sub. This is important condition for every causal system. Then another one, test the discrete time system for stability. Just repeat previous procedure. What we have done previously, evaluate the summation from n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. That is modulus of h of n is equal to, take summation n is equal to minus infinity plus infinity modulus of 2 power n u of n. Okay, once again, what u of n shows? U of n means right side, that is u of n is 1 when n is equal to 0 to infinity. Between 0 and infinity it is 1, therefore simply it is 2 power n. Now go for expansion. Expand the summation. What expansion? Put n is equal to 0 here, 1, n is equal to 1, 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 0, 1, 2, dash, 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 dash will become 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8. After adding all these things, after adding all these numbers, the result becomes infinity. Infinity. This is not absolutely summable. See, given causal system. System is causal because of right side. This is a right side system, no problem for causality, but there is a problem for stability. That is, given causal system is unstable. Given causal system is unstable because the impulse response is not absolutely summable. Because The impulse response is not absolutely summable. Next example. Next example. Test the discrete time system h of n equal to 2 power n u of minus n for stability. These are different examples. Okay. First here see this case. This is causal and unstable. Before that, causal and stable, causal and stable, causal and unstable. Now it is non-causal. This is because u of minus n. U of minus n means what it is? Left-sided signal. It is left-sided signal. It is a non-causal signal. We are testing for a non-causal signal for stability. We have to test the signal for stability. Now see, repeat the procedure. Summation modulus of h of n, summation modulus of 2 power n u of minus n. U of minus n is 1 when n is minus n is positive, or n is less than 0. Means between minus infinity and 0. For negative values, this is 1. This part is 1 for negative value. Therefore, consider only negative range from minus infinity to 0, 2 power n. 2 power n. Now expand the summation. Put n is equal to 0, 1, n is equal to 1, n is equal to minus 1, not 1. N is equal to minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, like that. If n is negative values, automatically it will become 1 by 2, 1 by 2 whole square, 1 by 2 whole cube, dash, 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 dash. It is of the form again 1 plus r square, dash, dash, 1 by 1 minus r. It is 2 only. Here, this impulse response is absolutely summable. Absolutely summable. That's why given system is stable. Given non-causal system is stable because impulse response is absolutely summable. System is non-causal actually. This system is non-causal. Non-causal system is stable. But previously causal system is causal. This is 2 power n u of n is causal, but it is unstable. Causal system may be stable, causal system may be unstable. Non-causal system may be stable, non-causal system may be unstable. Okay, that depends. Okay, not all causal systems are stable. That is wrong. Not all causal systems are stable, or not all non-causal systems are stable. That is wrong statement. Non-causal system may be stable, may not be stable. Causal system may be stable, may not be stable. If a particular system is causal and stable, then only can say that the system is good. Okay. Next example. Next example. See, this is another example. This is another example. Half power n u of minus n. Half power n u of minus n. Because of u of minus n, system is non-causal. Because left side, non-causal. Now we are testing for non-causal system. Non-causal. Okay. Evaluate the absolute summation. Absolute summation modulus of h of n. Modulus of h of n. Half power n u of minus n. U of minus n shows what it is. 1 when n is negative. N is negative. It takes only negative locations. For negative locations, it is half power n. Expand the summation. What will get? Put n is equal to 0. That is 1 plus 2 plus 4. Because minus negative values, no, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, half power minus 2, minus 3, like that. So it becomes 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 8 dash dash. It is infinity. It is infinity. Infinity. Therefore, given non-causal system is unstable. Given non-causal system is unstable because it is not absolutely summable. We have seen all the 4 different types of examples. What those 4? What those 4? See, given causal system is stable. Okay. Next, given causal system is unstable. Given non-causal system is stable. Given non-causal system is unstable. Non-causal system unstable. Okay. Next, test the continuous time system y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t for Bibo stability. What Bibo? Bounded input, bounded output stability. We have to test the system for stability, that is Bibo stability. This is continuous time domain system. This is a differentiator actually. Y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t. What Bibo stability? Apply bounded signal as input to the system and observe the output. If the output is bounded, then the system is called Bibo stable. Bounded input, bounded output, stable. Okay, very clear. Now see, for this system, randomly you can take anything, but I am taking x of t is equal to u of t here. Input is equal to u of t. U of t means what? U of t is equal to finite for all values of t. U of t is 1, 1 when t is positive, 0 when t is less than 0. Therefore, unit step signal is always finite for all values of t. Okay. Now I am applying bounded signal as input to the system. Now observe the output. Then the output y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t. D by dt of x of t. That is d by dt of x of t means what? U of t. Differentiation of u of t. Derivative of unit step signal is called impulse signal. Derivative of unit step signal is called impulse signal. Impulse, del of t. And we know amplitude of impulse signal. Amplitude of impulse signal is infinity at origin. This is the definition of impulse signal. For every impulse signal, amplitude is infinity. Amplitude is infinity at t is equal to 0. This is one very good example. By seeing this question, everyone yes, we can say it is a stable system only. Stable, stable, stable. But it is not a stable system because it fails. It fails for x of t is equal to u of t. For remaining, no problem. Only for u of t it fails. That's why it is unstable. See, del of t is infinity at t is equal to 0. We have given bounded signal as input to the system, but we got unbounded output. Unbounded means what? Infinity output, infinity at origin. Therefore, this system produces unbounded for x of t is equal to u of t. Now see, a final conclusion. Given system is Bibo unstable. Bibo unstable because bounded input produces unbounded output. Means all differentiation systems like y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t. Differentiation things comes under Bibo unstable. Bibo unstable. Next question is test the following systems for stability. We'll see one by one. 2x of n. This is 2x of n plus 3. Means amplification plus DC level shifter. It shows 2 times input. Input is something. We are giving some input. What is output? 2 times input. Means amplification plus 3. Plus 3 means DC level shifter. Due to that, does not change like amplitude cannot be infinite. If input is finite, let us assume x of n is finite. If x of n is finite, 2 into finite plus 3 is finite. That's why this is a stable system. Next, second example, 2x of minus n plus 3 plus 3x square n. If input is finite, if x of n is finite, then x square n is also finite. X of minus n minus 3 also finite. Therefore, given system is stable. Next, 3 cos x of n. 3 cos x of n. If x of n is finite, cos of any finite value is finite only. Cos of anything is band limited. It is known thing. Cos of anything is band limited to a maximum value and a minimum value, and no chance to get infinity amplitude from cos function. Therefore, this is a stable system. Next, here input is bounded, output is bounded, then no problem for stability. This is most widely used, call it as constant coefficient difference equation. Is always linear, shift invariant, not causal, stable, but it is non-causal. See, because of plus k it is non-causal, but it is stable, no problem for stability. Next, here, no problem because input is stable, input is bounded, then output is also bounded. That's why this is a stable system. Another example, Another example, unstable. See here, y of n is equal to t of x of n is equal to n into x of n, n into x of n. If x of n is finite, finite into n. If n value increases goes on, it is a ramp signal, it is a ramp actually. If n increases goes on, if n is equal to infinity, if n is after long time, infinity into finite is infinity. That's why system is unstable. System is unstable system. Why unstable means? Because of original signal is multiplied with n. Next, y of n is equal to t times x of n, that is equal to 2 by x of n. See, series system, 2 by x of n. Suppose if x of n is 0, suppose input is 0, if x of n is 0, 2 by 0 becomes infinity. That's why this is unstable system. Unstable. I have given explanation here. If n is equal to infinity, output is equal to infinity. If x of n is 0, then output is equal to 2 by this is infinity, unbounded. Hence, the system is unstable. Both are unstable systems. Next one, test the continuous time system for invertibility. Invertibility. See, if the input x of t is equal to constant, this is a differentiation actually. We know differentiation is inverse system because if y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t, then x of t is equal to integration of y of t. We know that conversion also. But if the input x of t is equal to constant, if the input x of t is equal to constant, then the output y of t is equal to d by dt of constant is equal to 0. Output is 0. For a particular system, output is 0, then such things comes under non-inverse system. Output cannot be 0. Given system is non-inverse because the output is 0. But by watching this system like y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t, you can say that the system is invertible because of differentiation, but it is a non-invertible system because output is 0 if input is constant. Test the continuous time system y of t is equal to cos x of t for invertibility. This is also looks like inverse system because y of t is equal to cos x of t, then x of t is equal to cos inverse of y of t. Inverse, by using inverse function, we can get that. But see the concept here again. If the input x of t is equal to pi, if the input x of t is equal to pi, then the output y of t is equal to cos pi is equal to minus 1. Take another input. If the input x of t is equal to 3 pi, this is another different input, then output y of t is equal to cos 3 pi, that is minus 1. Means for two different inputs, we got common output. Output is common or constant for two different inputs. Already told you in the beginning, that is inverse and non-inverse systems. Output cannot be 0 for inverse systems. That is first thing. Second thing is output cannot be constant for two different inputs. For two different inputs, output cannot be constant. That's why this system is called non-inverse system. Okay, differentiation is non-inverse system. Cos of x of t is also a non-inverse system. Another example is test the continuous time system y of t is equal to x of t minus 2 for invertibility. Okay, by using Fourier transform, we may get clear cut information for this. X of t minus 2 is an inverse system. For that, inverse system is x of t plus 2. X of t plus 2 is inverse of that. Next, test the continuous time system y of t is equal to d by dt of x of t for all properties. Means differentiator. Actually, this is a differentiator. They are asking to test this differentiator for all properties. Given system is linear, differentiation is always linear, and this is a time invariant. No problem for time invariant. It is a dynamic system. Differentiation is always dynamic system. Next, is a causal system, and it is a Bibo unstable. It fails for Bibo unstable. Already we have seen that is for u of t is if x of t is equal to unit step signal, then output is unbounded. This is a non-inverse system. Differentiation is non-inverse system. Another example, test the continuous time system, that is y of t is equal to k for linear time invariant, linear as well as time invariant system. Given system is non-linear time invariant, non-linear because of constant, but constant systems are always time invariant, no problem. Okay, that's the end of second module. Out of 7, we have completed 2 modules, and today's module is completely on systems, system classification, system properties, and how to evaluate impulse response and how to evaluate response of a system by using convolution operation. We have seen all these things in this topic. That's the end of today's class. Any doubt in today's lecture? Any doubt, students? Please respond. Madam?
Yes, sir.
Madam, that's the end of today's class, madam. I have completed second module, like system classification, system properties, and evaluation of system response and convolution operation. These are the topics covered today, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Thank,
madam.
thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye, bye.